Hi, Yaoji here and welcome to our latest showcase video. I've finally unlocked all the ToyBox pieces from the Battlegrounds playset and I've had an afternoon playing around with them just to see what they can do and how they look. And I thought it'd be a nice idea to put a video together to show you guys that in action. So there's 22 pieces in total. You'll notice that there's one at the bottom that's not unlocked. Now in the challenge section in the actual playset there is only 21 that you can unlock, and as far as I can find out on Google and Reddit and a few other websites I've looked at, no one seems to know how to unlock this as yet. And if you look at the cost under my sparks at the top there, it actually says -1, which is a bit of an error within itself, because as you can see, if I just skip over to the next page, normally on the right we've got a cost. So if you just go back to that, for some unapparent reason, there's no cost for that. And where the cost is, where a tick should be if you've normally bought it, it says -1. I've got a sneaky suspicion, being as it's sort of a coin-op type playset, that you're going to be able to unlock that from running the story mode with every single character. So that's going to be 28 runs of the story mode, but I'm guessing nobody's actually tried it out as yet to find out. But there we go. So it's going to be the 21 pieces. They're unlockable in the Well Construction toys within the toy store. Now, I'm not going to rush through this, guys. I'm going to try and take my time on this one. I want to show you guys as much as possible of the new ToyBox pieces as possible, simply because I know they're really difficult to unlock. Now, I'm not going to go on about that too much, but each and every one of these pieces, if you're not aware, is unlocked by a character specific challenge within the playset. So, you know, one of these, not too sure which one it is, but one of these pieces is unlocked by doing a challenge with Ant-Man. So what we're saying is you need all 28 figures to unlock every piece. So I'm guessing not everybody is going to have those 28 figures. So what I've done is, it's a very basic toy box. I haven't decorated it at all in the slightest, but what I've done is thrown everything into this area that's unlockable, all the crates, as you can see, the Ultron thing at the back there, some of the train parts, the Asgard gate, and so on. I've thrown it all into the area, linked it up with buttons and so forth, so you can see what they do. So we'll start off with the biggest, well, one of the biggest of them all, I guess, the Asgard gate. Now, if I just take my wand out, we'll have a little run around it first. I'll put it on the Asgard floor. Incidentally, I think that's the only floor. It seems what they've tried to give us is all the pieces for the Battlegrounds arenas themselves, so we can try and replicate them as much as possible. I'm sure some sort of ingenuity and sculpting pieces and so forth is going to be necessary at some point. They haven't given us that many pieces to do it with, but this is quite a nice looking piece. Some nice shimmer effects. It does sort of give it the metallic feel, if you know what I mean. Now, I'm going to do this showcase as quite an honest showcase. I'm going to not hold back a little bit. I'll tell you what I think's good, and I'll also tell you what I think's not good. And guys and girls, it is only my opinion. You know, everyone's got their own opinion, so some will agree, some will disagree. But with this, I would have liked to have seen it opening left and right. That would have been really cool. But what they've given us is a little bit basic. You can connect it to a path, which is what I've done here, and you can connect it to some sort of logic connection, which is what I've done. I've connected it to the effects generator. So you can't open and close it. You can only move it along a path. It is one piece, it's not two. So I'll show it in action. You can essentially make it rumble down. Okay, I could have made it a little bit slower. You could have walked on a path and a pad of some form in your toy box, and the gates of Asgard lower before you, or rise before you, if it works. Have a little bit of a smoke effect there. So that's the Asgard gate. It's pretty cool. It's a nice looking piece, let's be honest. It is a nice looking piece, but I would have liked a few more things to do with it. On to the next unlockable piece now, and I'm going to do these in no particular order, guys and girls. You know, it's just sort of how I've laid them out. This one's a subway car. We'll have a little look around it. It's a real nice looking piece. as far as subway cars go. They all are nice, they're really well sculpted. I love the reflections in the little American flag. And we'll get a wand out, we'll have a little look. So, obviously you can put it on a path. If we're going to try and replicate the Brooklyn arena, we need to put it on a train track and a path for that. And you can have a logic connection. Now this is a bit of an odd one. It says broken or collected, so it can be smashed up, it's destructible. And essentially what you can do is, once it's smashed up, something can happen. You can have an effect happen or an event of some sort. Collected, got to be personally honest, not 100% sure about that. Guess you can link it up to one of the creativity toys and have it count up as you smash them up. Another thing you could have happen is some sort of explosions around it as you smash it up. But there you go. So it's got a logic connection. So we'll take a little look at smashing it up, because there are some sort of quite nice effects for it. Panels falling off as you beat it up. It's pretty cool. Sure, if Ant-Man's, yeah, okay, you can completely smash it to pieces. And what I've done with this one here, I've linked it up to an enemy generator, so we'll see. Probably going to see this on the radar, because I'm either going to have my back to it or it's going to be obscured by the train. So, but as you can see, as I smash it up on the radar, as it finally explodes, we're going to finisher on it there. We should get a couple of baddies spawn. There we go. So we'll just finish these guys.
Nobody suspects the Ant-Man.
A couple of King's Guards with marshmallow arrows. Always a bit of a tough threat, the old marshmallow arrow. If you just get him out of the way. Come along now. Stand back, sir. So there we have it. That's the subway car, and along with that one comes the other train. I just bring out my wand. I've got to stop pressing that button. I do apologise. I was doing that a few times when I was trying these things out and just blowing everything up. Another nice looking sort of train, the tanker train car. We'll have a little run around it. Well sculpted again. Having the little twisty handle thing on the end there. And what I've done with this one, I've linked it up to the path to show you the path options. Incidentally, the train track and the stopper on each end of this train track, they're the only pieces that, well, you can buy those. They're not unlocked by any specific character challenge. So, here we go. So, as we hit the button, it's going to travel down the path, do its job, and deliver its goods to the other end of the train line. And hopefully get reloaded. And come back. Incidentally, you may notice the writing's disappeared. We'll show you. It's on the other side. Not sure whether that's my path selection or whether that's a little bit of a error in the programming of the piece. Suddenly it's come back with a ladder. Excellent. So that's the tanker train. On to the next, and this is a pretty immense looking piece. This is the minecart from the Wakanda battle area. Straight off the bat, it looks great. But secondly, straight off the bat, I would have liked it to have been a lot bigger. At least 4 times the size of this. Yes, it's a big piece. But once I get inside, I'll show you what the problem is with it. It does look pretty cool. Nevertheless, it is pretty large. It is pretty huge. But in the Battlegrounds playset, this is the arena, and you're playing it 4-player. It's about 4 times the size, and as you can see, it is pretty small. I mean, if I just quickly spawn a boss in, if we can manage it, you can barely swing a cat in here. I'm gonna get beaten to death here. I've got a bad feeling about this, gotta tell you guys. Let's just see if I can
by this place as I am.
finish him. I may have the difficulty combat settings still set on extreme, I normally do. But you can see the area, it's not big enough for doing what we want to do. The pieces they've given us, like I keep saying, it seems as if they want us to replicate
I'm back. Not sure I'm
the
happy
arenas,
about it.
and okay, they've given us the Wakanda minecart. There's not a lot else you'd want to put in it. Maybe a few crates and a few bits and bobs.
Get out of here with that.
But it needs to be the right size from the start, and this isn't. This really isn't. But what you can do with it, as you can see, I've linked 4 buttons up to this one. And just get the wand out. I've really got to stop doing that. I'm going to explode the minecart in a second. So what you can do is essentially connect it to a path, which I've done here. And also connect it to something for an effect or for something to happen when it starts to move. The properties on this one, very limited, just for the path. Very limited. But okay, you don't really need much else for this one. I mean, if you were going to try and recreate the Wakanda mine level, then you'd pretty much have this on a path with all your other stuff around in the toy box that you'd be flying through. But it does need to be bigger. It really does. There are a couple of little funky things with it. You can turn it on. Have the little jet propulsion system start to fire up and turn it off. And obviously if you're going to have it turning on, then it's going to be taking off. And away it goes. Which you've got to be honest, does look pretty cool. But there we have it. So that's the Wakanda minecart. Now the next one goes with the Wakanda minecart. It really does. Just take my wand out if I can do it without blowing it up. It's the Wakanda mining drone. Now this one, if you've seen the Battleground videos, this is the one that's firing the missiles. So it's going to have a great setting for this, for firing missiles. And unfortunately it doesn't. It's a pretty small piece. Would have liked it to have been a little bit bigger. What you can do with it is connect it to something to activate and deactivate it, and you can also set it to a path. So what I'll show you here, if I can remember which buttons do which, because I'm mixing these up a little bit. I think this is the one that turns it on. So hold your breath, everybody. Here we go. And did you miss it? It started shaking a little bit, and there's a few sparks coming out of it. I'm not being funny. I am really disappointed with this one. Got to be honest. Turn it off. Yeah, so look. Those crazy, amazing effects have stopped. Not overly impressed with that. I would have liked some setting for a missile. I want the radar. I want to recreate the Wakanda mine. You can also, if I remember which one it was, set it on a path, which is what I've done there. So you could have it flying around the arena. You could have it flying around the Wakanda minecart. And I guess there's some way that we can personally fix a lot of logic connections and pieces together to make it fire and explode bombs and mines. But wouldn't it have just been easier for them to program it to do it straight off the bat? I personally think it would have been. But that's just me. I'm a little disappointed, I have to be honest. You know, the implications of all the work that's needed to put that together to make it work properly, I think is personally unnecessary when they could have programmed it to do it straight off the bat. They already program AI bosses. You can spawn in a boss and he fights in a particular way. They could have done a lot more with that. That's all I'm saying. On to the next piece now, and this is the rocket casing. I can't quite remember off the top of my head what Battleground Arena it's from, but it's quite a nice little tweak on the button system. Once you hit the button, there's a time limit that you can set so the casing closes and nobody else or yourself can press the button again within that time limit. I think it goes up to about a minute. And what I've done with this one is connected it to the Lunar Outpost rocket engine, which is the one that fires the massive flames out of it in the arena, if you've seen that. Neither of these pieces can be connected to a path, which I thought was a little bit weird, especially for the rocket engine. Would have been nice to be able to see it flying around on the back of a rocket, so to speak. But there we have it. It's only got the... I'll show you. It's only got the standard logic connection, so once you, for example, with the button hit it, you can make it do something. The rocket engine actually is a little bit different for its standard logic connections. Just show you that. It's got a couple of other good ones. One being, once it's broken, it can do something, bring something into effect. And also when it's picked up. Now that's a bit odd because Ant-Man can't pick it up. So I'm assuming it's only big characters, Hulkbuster, Hulk, characters like that that could pick it up. But once they have, some action can take effect. So that's the logic connections for them. I'll show you them in action. As we hit the button, the casing closes. That's on a 5-second default delay. And the flames kick into action, which got some nice looking features. I love the heat around the front of the rocket there. It looks really cool. But one weird, odd thing I have noticed about this rocket engine is you can walk in a certain area and it doesn't do any damage. If you notice, there's a little blue tinge in that area. If I'm in that blue tinge, it's not doing any damage. But if I come out of that, it'll blast me to the moon and back.
Where was I?
Bit odd. Bit odd. Just personal, you know, just noticed it. Don't know if it's meant to be like that. Personally, I would have liked it. Seems a bit odd, if I'm honest. I mean, if you're going to position that in a battleground where you don't want anybody to be able to get through when that flame's on, then that just defeated the object of that, because you can run through it right there. If you get your positioning right. But there we go, just another little oddity with some of the pieces. It can be broken, as we said, as it showed also, so I'll just show you it being beaten up. It's quite nice because the metal sort of warps. I like that. Nice little feature. Bit odd how you can run through the front of it. Not entirely sure how that's... Yet that one I can't. Okay, so that might be just a glitch within my toy box. I can't run through the front of this one, so we'll smash this one up instead then. Although I can disappear through the back of it. Seems a little odd. Maybe it's because I'm Ant-Man and I'm shrinking. But it's got a nice explosion. I know it seems like I'm picking at some of these pieces a little bit, but I'm just trying to give a very candid opinion of the pieces, if you like. Simply because the playset is very limited to what you can unlock. I'm not really going to keep going into that on this video. I would have liked a lot more. But we've got what we've got, and the next one is the teleporter. This is a pretty cool piece. I like the look of this piece. It's the Nowhere teleporter, I think. Yep, the Nowhere portal. So standard, it's got a logic connection. Teleport from here, yep. Okay. You can teleport yourself from A to B, as you would have expected with a standard teleporter. One cool thing about this is you can actually turn them round. If you notice, I'm facing one particular way. You can turn the piece round, and if you do, once I teleport back to this one, if you noticed I was facing that way originally, and as we teleport back, I'm now facing a different way, which is quite a nice little feature. I like that. I like that. That's pretty useful. It means you can set your teleporter, and if it's encased by a couple of walls, when you spawn, you're not going to be facing walls. You can be facing the direction you want your character or your figure to be. Moving into the Electric Avenue now, or what I've dubbed the Electric Avenue, more like Electric Corner, just simply because these next two pieces are going to electrify you and fry you like a crisp. And this one, I've got to tell you, I think this looks cool. Love the shiny lights, love the shimmer effects, and I love the ominous big infinity button in the middle. I mean, I can't resist pushing it. So, and the effects of the lightning on the electrified floor, as this one's called, I really like it, got to be honest. I love the way it sort of electrifies the figure until death. Really nice piece. I think that's going to be a real nice piece to put in your toy box. And if you just take the wand out and have a little look at it, it's got a few nice features that I hadn't expected. Well, one in particular, you can link it to a path, so you can have it moving around in your toy box. If you're going to build some sort of a battle arena and have that moving or flying around, you can have that moving with the arena. So that's quite a nice little feature. In the logic connections, obviously, you can turn it on and off. And I think what they've done with the button there with the casing is they're having it triggered once. That can then be set to a time limit in the properties, so you can have your electrical surge last longer or lesser, up to you. And the cooldown time, that's going to be for the casing. You can have the button be not accessible for a longer period of time. One other nice feature, because you can link it to a logic connection, is you can link it to an action button. And if you link it to that action button, you can then link that to, say, an enemy generator and a locator in the middle of the electrified area. So when you hit the button, if it all works swimmingly, yeah, you can kill baddies straight off the bat. I like that feature. Personally, I think that's pretty cool.
You're gonna want to see the nurse after this.
Just get rid of this big guy. He's one of the enemies from the Force Awakens playset, if you've not come across that one yet. And as you can see, pretty darn tough. So I think we'll finish him if we can lure him in with some electric. Come on, big guy. Well, he's not the stupidest by the looks of things. But there we have it. Down he goes. So that's the electric floor. I quite like that piece. It's a pretty cool piece. I think you can have a decent amount of fun with that one. The next piece in the electric corner is the Lunar Outpost Gantry Claw. It's quite a cool little piece. It's got a few nice little features. You can link it to a path, so you can have it moving around your toy box, depending on what style of toy box you're creating. You can have a logic connection, so you can link it up to buttons to have it turned on and off and triggered once, as you can see. But you can also have it linked to logic connections, so that when it does kick into effect or deactivate, something else happens within your toy box, which is nice. And properties wise, you can change its properties if you like. You can have its action looped or not, and with that you can also change the timing so it stays closed for longer. Do you find these close times a little odd? I personally think that's longer than 6 seconds. Don't know if they actually mean 6 seconds, but or whether it's another predetermined amount of time. But some of these pieces seem to work a little bit strange, where you put it on 60 and it seems to just last for about 5 minutes. But there we go. So you can change the open time as well. And another odd feature, I think, I guess it's kind of cool, you can take off the damage so it doesn't hurt you when you run through it. But seems a little odd, that, but I guess that's a nice feature to have on it. So I guess one way you could use this, as you can see, I've put a trigger area here. I've linked it up to this one over here to a trigger area. If, for example, you had a rail slide part of your toy box and you were being chased, you could have a few of these linked up in a row and actually slide through them. Thing's going to close and kill whatever's following you. Nice little feature. Camera angle's not doing me any justice. Do apologise for that. But you kind of get the idea there. So that's a nice little piece. The Gantry Claw from the Lunar Outpost. The next toy box piece, I've got to tell you, is probably one of my favourites to unlock. It's from the Ultimate Ultron Arena, and it's the Enhancement Station. This is actually one piece, but I've laid 4 of them down. As you can see, 4 different colours. Yellow being speed, blue being defense, red being attack, and green being health regeneration. The reason there's 4 is because in the options, if you just get the wand out and have a quick look, you go down to the properties and you can select what power-up type you want. So this one's set to defense, speed is an option, attack, health. So there we go, there's the 4. That's also pretty cool. You can also set the cooldown time on these. So obviously once it's given the enhancement, you can turn the time up so it won't give that enhancement for that amount of time again. You can make them destructible, which I haven't seen yet, so we'll set this one to being destructible. And the buff duration, that's how long the enhancement's going to last. So I've set all these to max because what I want to do, I tried earlier, and if you set it to sort of 10 seconds, it don't last very long, and you can't buff yourself up with everything in one fell swoop. But what you can do, which is pretty cool, I'm impressed with that, is you can set it all to 60 and you can take all 4 buffs in one fell swoop. Another thing you can do is set it to a path. So as I mentioned, if you're building an arena that's flying around, these things can be flying around with it. And the logic connection, you can have it do something when it's activated, deactivated, reset, or when the enhancement is actually granted. Excuse me. I've done that with the speed one. I've set it up so when that enhancement's granted, it will spawn a boss. So we'll have a little look at this in action, and I'll try and run around and get all 4 and spawn the boss last. It's a pretty cool looking piece. So there's the first defense. And attack. Nice little feature, I love it. The graphics spinning around here, pretty cool. Health regen, and the last one, I guess I should have took speed first, but nevertheless. And in spawns Maul, and I've got to tell you, they really are fast. So we'll deal with Maul, see how fast we can beat him up. Try and go big. Oh wow, and the enhancements last when you're big as well. It's pretty impressive, hadn't seen that before. I mean, Maul really is, he's only set to medium, but he's really taking some damage there. 10 hits, finished already. Now these enhancements are going to last quite some time. I take it back, I would have thought they would have lasted longer than that, but they lasted long enough to take out a boss. So one last thing to do before we move on to the crates and barrels and the Humongo Ultron over in the distance is smash one of these up. I haven't actually smashed one of these up myself, so I don't know how it looks. We'll have a little look, see if you can smash it from the bottom. Doesn't look like it. So I'm guessing as within the playset or the Battlegrounds. Yep, you're going to be smashing it up from the top. That looks pretty cool. And does that render that completely useless now? Yep, it certainly does. That's pretty cool. I'm impressed with that. I like that. That looks pretty good. So there we have it. That's the enhancement station. Got to be honest, that's one of my favourite new pieces. Pretty cool, that one, and I can see and think of a few different ways I could use that in my own toy box. I think what I'll do is show you the big guy before I move on to the little bits, because they're essentially the same. But look how big this thing is. It is humongo. And floating in the air like this, it looks pretty foreboding and pretty lethal. Unfortunately, I mean, it does look great. I'm not going to take that away from it, and it is going to be a great looking piece to have in your toy box if you can get it to work properly, which you probably can do with a lot of linking of logic things and objects and so to speak. But I'll show you what it's got off the bat. That's why I'm a little bit disappointed with it, because it's a little bit limited. You can essentially, yeah, you can do a new logic connection, so you know you can have an effect or an event happen beforehand or after when it starts up, or this or that, the usual, same as most of these pieces. And you can actually link it to a path properties. That's just going to be for the path. The reason I sound a little bit disappointed is because in the playset this thing actually slams the ground and creates damage, and I think that there should have been a way that you should have been able to trigger that into effect without having to mess about with 100 other pieces to link it up. But that's just my opinion. I mean, I just think, you know, if they're spending the time to create these pieces, as we said over yonder with the AI boss, you know, they could have done it with this as well. But so essentially what you can do is link it to a path. No, I've not set the speed. It is moving pretty fast, but there we go. You know, you can have it move up and down as it does in the playset, for example. And I suppose as the hands get closer to the ground, you can have some sort of trigger area. So if the character's standing in the trigger area and that comes down, they're going to get damaged. But it's not quite the same effect as what's in the playset. So I'll just reset that. All in all, a great looking piece. A great looking piece that is okay, can be used well, but I would like to have seen more. On to the last 9 pieces that are unlockable from the playset now, and I'm not going to lay too much judgment on these. Suffice to say that I've had to unlock these with specific characters that I paid money for. I would have expected a little bit more for that, rather than a crate and a barrel that just explodes and doesn't do much else. But nevertheless, I'm going to rate them on what they are, and for what they are pretty cool. They do some funky little things as opposed to normal sort of destructible crates. I'll run by them and run them off as I go along, because they all do the same thing. The first one is the Lunar Outpost freeze crate, which obviously freezes things when it explodes. The Nowhere crate, I've not had a go with that yet. I'm not sure what that does. The Asgard crate, again, not had a go with that. The Vibranium crate from the Wakanda Mines level electrocutes people. This is a weird one because it's got Corp, as in Oscorp, written on it. Oh, it is Oscorp. So it's obviously Spider-Man related, but they call that the canister. Then we've got an explosive barrel, the Lunar Outpost explosive barrel, and the Lunar Outpost freeze barrel, and this one over here is the pipe rack. So we'll just get the wand out and we'll have a little closer look at them. They've all got the same logic and path availability that this pipe rack's got. As you can see, you can connect them all to a path, and you can connect them all to a logic connection for an event or an action. I've actually connected this one to an enemy generator. They're all the same when you go into the logic connection as well. It's all broken or collected, as it was with the train cars at the start of this video. So essentially what we're going to do, smash this one to pieces. When it smashes, it should, if it works, spawn some baddies. So we'll have a little look. Hopefully it will. I'll try and smash it from this side. We might see them spawn. There we go. In they spawn. Just smash another one up. The graphics are better when you punch it rather than kill it all in one go. Apologies for that. Wrong button again. And we'll just polish these guys off. Pipe rack can be picked up as well, but not by Ant-Man. It's another object that you need to be large to pick up. So what I'll do, I'm going to run through all the barrels and all the crates. These are the last pieces to show you guys. So I'll just spawn in some baddies and we'll pick up the first barrel. Hopefully we'll get a nice hit. And you'll see the freeze effect. Try that one again. I've not had a great deal of practice, and you can see I laid quite a few of these out because I wasn't overly confident. There's the freeze effect. Pretty cool. Doesn't last a particularly long amount of time. Does its job. I'm going to try and rush through these guys. We'll spawn in a few more. Yep, in they come. And we'll get the Lunar Outpost exploding barrel. Pretty cool, you know, essentially an exploding barrel. Okay, I hit these guys, I missed these guys, but you get the idea of that one. The next one, just look at my paper, I do apologise, so many of them, is another exploding barrel. Hopefully the bears will spawn it. I feel quite bad about just obliterating all these bears. A little bit different looking from the Lunar Outpost barrel. Have another little look at that one. Oh, get away from these guys long enough. I've got a horrible feeling I'm going to throw a barrel and just blow all the rest of the barrels to smithereens at one point, but canister next from Spider-Man. You can pick it up. Oh, bears on met. It's pretty hectic. We'll see how this one Seems to have a bigger explosion than the other two. So onto the vibranium crate now. This one should electrocute if I don't just smash it to pieces before I pick it up. It's quite a cool little effect. Yep, sort of hits him and shakes them to pieces. Try and do another one, just show you a little bit better. If I can pick it up. Come on. Yep. So they sort of shake and then die. It's a pretty cool effect. I think there's actually an electrocution barrel as well. But that's in the tab where you can just buy stuff as long as you've got the playset piece on the Infinity base. The Asgard crate. Another exploding one. Not sure whether that missed the guys or it just doesn't do much damage. Let's throw another one and see. See if it does do much damage. Yeah, seems just as effective as all the rest. Onto the Nowhere crate. As I said, I've not had a go with this yet, so I'm not entirely sure what the effect is. Have a little look. Still not entirely sure what the effect was. Didn't see an explosion, electrocution, or a freezing. Have another little look. Kind of odd. Not sure. Not sure of that. Just throw one into space, see if I can fathom it out. Yeah, okay, so maybe it's just an exploding barrel. Or an exploding crate, rather. And the last piece of the 21 unlockable pieces. Hey, it's got Stark Industries wrote on it. The Lunar Outpost Freeze Crate. Made by Tony Stark, apparently. And again, this is quite a cool one because it freezes them. I would have liked it to have frozen for a bit longer, if I'm honest. Looks pretty cool. Not entirely sure if it causes damage. Let's throw a few and just see if I can kill them with it. Oh, I won't kill them if I don't hit them. So yeah, they're taking damage as well as being frozen. It's quite cool. I suppose stands to reason. Any big crate smashed on your head's going to hurt a little bit. We'll take the final bear out. So there we have it, guys. That's each and every one of the 21 unlockable ToyBox pieces from the Battlegrounds playset. I hope you like this video. I know it was seriously lengthy. It's probably one of the longest videos I've put up yet on the channel. But I wanted to give you guys a good chance to take a look at what's available. So I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button if you got this far and give us a thumbs up. And if you want to see more, we update daily, you know. Come check out my channel and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching. We do hope to see you in the next. And bye for now.